For centuries, we have been told that the Earth is a finished map. We've conquered the highest peaks and charted the deepest oceans. But what if the greatest mystery on our planet isn't hidden in space, but right beneath our feet, guarded by a wall of ice and a wall of silence? In 1947, a national hero, a man of impeccable character and decorated valor, returned from the frozen edge of the world with a message that defied physics. Admiral Richard E. Byrd didn't just find ice in Antarctica. According to his own diaries and the whispers that have survived decades of censorship, he found a doorway. Tonight, we peel back the layers of Operation Highjump, the bizarre origins of a naval legend, and the conspiracy that suggests the most important discovery in human history was buried under a shroud of national security. Grab your gear. We're going past the 80th parallel.
To understand the mystery, you have to understand the man. Richard Evelyn Byrd was not a conspiracy theorist. He was the ultimate insider. Born into the Virginia aristocracy, a descendant of one of the first families of Virginia, Byrd was groomed for greatness. The naval prodigy. Byrd graduated from the U.S. Naval Academy in 1912. He wasn't just a sailor, he was a pioneer of the skies. When aviation was still in its infancy, Byrd was the one calculating how to navigate over featureless oceans. The North Pole controversy. In 1926, he claimed to be the first man to fly over the North Pole, while some historians debate if he actually reached the exact coordinate. The world didn't care. He was a superstar. He was awarded the Medal of Honor. A national asset. By the 1930s, Byrd had become the face of American exploration. He wasn't just a pilot, he was a scientist, a high-level military strategist, and a personal friend of presidents. When Richard Byrd spoke, the world listened. And when he looked toward the South Pole, he didn't just see a wasteland of snow, he saw a strategic frontier. But as we're about to see, his interest in the ice would eventually lead him to a truth the world wasn't ready to hear. World War II had just ended. The world was exhausted. Yet in 1946, the United States Navy organized the largest task force ever sent to Antarctica, Operation Highjump. This wasn't a small scientific expedition. This was an invasion force. 4,700 men, 13 ships, including an aircraft carrier, 25 aircraft, a 6-month scheduled duration. The question, why? Why send a massive military armada to a desert of ice when the world was supposed to be at peace? The official story was testing equipment in frigid conditions and establishing American sovereignty, but the reality was far more frantic. Byrd was in command, and the mission ended abruptly after only 8 weeks. They fled. Reports began to leak. Reports of flying discs that could travel from pole to pole with incredible speed. Reports of casualties that were never fully explained. Byrd himself gave an interview to the Chilean newspaper El Mercurio upon his return, and his words sent shockwaves through the Pentagon. It is a bitter reality that in the case of a new war, the continental United States will be attacked by flying objects that can fly from pole to pole with incredible speeds. Before we dive into the contents of the Admiral's secret diary and the strange events of 1947, I want to hear from you. Do you believe Antarctica is just a continent, or is it a gatekeeper? Drop "The ice is real" in the comments if you're ready for the deep dive. And if you value the truth over the narrative, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're just getting started. This is where the history ends and the forbidden begins. Following Admiral Byrd's death in 1957, a diary allegedly surfaced. Whether it is a genuine record or a profound allegory, its contents describe an encounter that challenges our entire understanding of geology. According to these accounts, during a 1947 flight, Byrd's plane was intercepted. He didn't see more ice, he saw greenery. He saw forests, running water, and creatures that looked like mammoths. The diary describes his plane being taken under radio control by craft marked with strange symbols. He was brought to a city made of crystalline material to meet the master. The message he was given? The surface world's use of atomic weapons had disturbed the inhabitants of the inner world. They had monitored our progress and were concerned for the survival of the planet. Is it possible that the hollow Earth theory, dismissed as folklore for centuries, was what Byrd actually witnessed? Or was he seeing a pocket of ancient climate preserved by geothermal heat?
Upon his return to the States, Byrd was subjected to intense interrogation by the Secret Service and the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He was allegedly ordered to remain silent on behalf of humanity. Shortly after Highjump, the narrative around Antarctica changed forever. 1. The Antarctic Treaty. In 1959, 12 nations, even Cold War rivals, agreed that Antarctica would be used only for peaceful purposes. It is the only place on Earth where you cannot simply buy land, build a house, or explore freely. 2. The no-fly zones. To this day, civilian flight paths over the true South are strictly regulated and often forbidden. 3. The media blackout. Admiral Byrd, once a constant fixture in newsreels, suddenly faded from the public eye. His later expeditions were heavily sanitized. If there is nothing there but ice, why is it the most guarded place on the planet? Why did the U.S. and the Soviet Union, at the height of the Cold War, agree to play nice over this specific patch of white desert?
Admiral Richard E. Byrd was a hero, a scientist, and a warrior. He was not a man prone to delusions. If he saw something, he believed it. His tombstone at Arlington National Cemetery calls him the monarch of the Antarctic. But perhaps he was more than that. Perhaps he was the first modern man to realize that the world is much bigger and much stranger than the maps led us to believe. As satellite imagery today is often scrubbed or glitched over certain coordinates in the deep south, we have to ask ourselves, are we protecting the environment of Antarctica, or is the environment protecting a secret that would change our place in the universe? The story of Admiral Richard E. Byrd is a haunting reminder that the maps we are given may only be the first draft of reality. Whether Byrd discovered a physical entrance to another world, an ancient civilization preserved by heat, or simply a strategic truth so volatile the world's superpowers had to unite to bury it, one thing remains: the ice is silent, but it isn't empty. Richard Byrd once spoke of a land beyond the pole that was the center of the great unknown. Perhaps that unknown isn't a place, but a choice. The choice to stop accepting the narrative and start looking for the cracks in the frost. If you've made it this far, you're part of the few who aren't afraid to look past the 80th parallel. But the investigation doesn't end here. The theory. I want to know your take. Is Antarctica a physical barrier or a psychological one? Is the secret geological or extraterrestrial? Post your theories below. I'll be hearting the most compelling ones. The movement. History is rewritten by those who ask why. If you want to join us as we chart the stories that textbooks won't touch, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. The next chapter. If this mystery gripped you, you're not ready to go back to the surface. Click the video on your screen now. The truth is out there, hidden under the white veil. We'll see you in the next one.